With the release of She-Hulk, there was a lot of speculation and theorizing of what the reporting of it would be after the fact, after the first episode, well, even before the first episode, and afterwards, what the show was going to be like. And a lot of people believe it to be true, the speculation. Here we have an article from Forbes. She-Hulk is getting review bombed even harder than Miss Marvel. Now, this is an interesting little statement here. Review bombing. If you don't understand what review bombing is, what the mainstream media believes it to be, review bombing is the process of going to a piece of media's website, whether it is IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, and just giving it 1 out of 10, 1 star, half-star reviews over and over and over again to voice your negative opinion of it. What they don't like to talk about is the idea of all the positive review bombs. Now, this was brought in. Let's see. This article was written on, where's the date of the article? It doesn't show. There we go. August 18th. So 3 days ago. So 3 days ago, this information, this was before the release of She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 1. And as you can see here, we got 1,937 1-star reviews, 1 out of 10. Now, that's a bit ridiculous if you ask me. I will admit that, because the episode's not even out yet. But what they don't want to talk about is up here, where you have 400 more 10-star reviews. How can you give it a 10-star review if the show's not even out yet? How can you have how can you have that many people? If this is review bombing, and it could be, it's possible. If the only thing you're paying attention to is the negative review bombing, then you're biased and you need to be quiet. If you're going to bring it up, bring up both sides. That's all there is to it. But to come out and say and accuse it of being review bombed, then you're being disingenuous to the fullest extent. Article says, this is one of those things I just knew was going to happen because you could see it coming from a mile away. Gee, why is that? She-Hulk attracted controversy ahead of its release for its digital effects in the trailers. Yes, because they were dog shit. They were terrible. But past that happens to be an MCU show directed, written by, produced by, starring by women. This is, I've said it before, this is getting old. This is truly getting old. This accusation that it's only men that are giving negative reviews on this because they don't want to see a female character. They don't want to see anything written by a woman, starring women, all this other stuff. It's a tried and true script that is getting old. It's just getting old. And I don't think they're ever going to learn. But the dumpster fire that is the aftermath of She-Hulk keeps going. This little speech right here, I'm not going to play the audio because I haven't figured out how to do audio without it sounding like a freaking all the feedback in it. IMD post this. Ahem, say it louder for the people in the back. This is the little speech. And if you haven't watched episode 1, this is going to be a spoiler. Jennifer goes on her little speech. Hulk is trying to talk to her about anger management and about the struggles of anger management, and just one little slip up and you can turn into the Hulk. And the actress goes on and on about how she struggles with anger management every day, whether it's being catcalled on the street or an incompetent man is trying to explain her job to her, or when she could quite possibly be murdered on the street. Whether you think she should know Bruce Banner's past or not, they are cousins. This was deliberately written into the script. This was intentional, to try and downplay anything the Hulk has gone through, to sit there and believe that anything that she talks about in this speech could possibly be worse than, I don't know, being physically abused by your father, watching your father abuse your mother to the point where she dies. his father kills his mother, where he becomes the Hulk, completely involuntary, cannot cope with the change, goes on rampage after rampage. His ex girlfriend's or girlfriend's father uses the full might of the military to hunt him down incessantly to try and kill him. The struggles of being worried about hurting and killing the people you love to the point of exiling himself to Africa, causing God knows what destruction in the process, exiling himself to another planet because he's afraid of what he might do to the people he cares about, going all the way to trying to remove himself from the census, only to have, as he puts it, the big guy just spit the bullet out. People don't have a problem with the female character. People don't have a problem with the female director. People have a problem with the writing, the piss poor writing, and how established characters are being treated in situations like this, in scenes like this. And people have responded quite wonderfully. Uh, Jen meets Matt Murdock. You're lucky you're blind. I wish I was blind so that I wouldn't have to see the injustice done to women. Jen to Peter Parker. You watched your Uncle Ben bleed out. I wish my male guardian died. That way, I wouldn't have been raised in the patriarchy. Maybe want to sit there and say there's no sort of underlying message coming from Marvel and DC and Hollywood. How many more examples do you need? It's one thing to have a positive female message, a strong character in a movie, in a TV show, but shows like Ally McBeal and Grey's Anatomy had good writing to back that up. And it wasn't just women watching those shows, trust me on that. They had good stories, good character development and journey. If this is supposed to be a comedy, they're failing miserably because the first episode is not a very good indication. But wait, I do think it gets better. It gets infinitely better for this show because now we have She-Hulk star. There's a weird obsession with female Marvel heroes' bodies. There's a problem with this because I believe, let's see, do I have the article up? I do. So, She-Hulk star, there's a weird obsession with female heroes' bodies. She-Hulk attorney at law actress Tatiana Maslany is calling out the unrealistic body standards associated with being a female superhero. Now, why are you only calling it out for female superheroes? It seems kind of let's see, misogynist is a dirty word, so I believe feminist is going to be a dirty word in this one too. It's a double standard. It's a double standard full of hypocrisy. The star of the new Marvel series, which debuted on Disney Plus Thursday, addressed pop culture's infatuation with heroes being super muscular. Okay. No, that's dumb. I mean, I can't agree with that. Superheroes are superheroes. They are they're the physical specimens. They're the top tier physical specimens. They always have been. I don't know. I mean, let's see. What did she say? Telling Entertainment Tonight she loves She-Hulk because, quote, she represents a different body and a different perception from the outside. What the heck? No, she doesn't. She doesn't represent a different body. She-Hulk is massive, muscular. How is that a different body than any other superhero in the superhero we've seen? Um, she says, quote, I think there's a cultural obsession with the certain physique that goes along with these movies sometimes. You are correct. That's because they're, like, to quote Jessica Rabbit, they're drawn that way. It's the anyway. I certainly fell prey to that idea, and I definitely don't think that it's a thing we should be pursuing because it's just these weird standards that none of us can actually keep up with unless we're going to the gym 1,000 times a week. Well, that's not entirely true because, let's see, I don't think these guys are going to the gym 1,000 times a week. If you have a weird obsession over female heroes' bodies, well, there's a movie that just came out that that was nothing but obsessing over the male bodies. But I guess maybe obsessing over the male body is uh, is acceptable. You know, you can objectify men, but objectifying women is verboten. Even though when you making a movie like this, a superhero comic, a show, a movie, or anything, you're trying to sell it visually. That is the key. You want to sell it visually. Not to mention that there's a couple of parts in the show where she didn't seem to have a problem with talking about how Captain America fucks. So the hypocrisy is strong with this one. When actors and actresses and producers and directors all continue to run their mouth on social media and all these articles, the only thing they serve to do is ruin their image, and that affects the show. People will tune out. They're not interested in what you have to say. I've said this numerous times, and but this will be the first time I say it on one of my videos. Nobody cares about the monkey's opinion at the circus. Nobody cares about the lion's opinion, their thoughts at the circus. They simply want to be entertained. Nobody's interested in the football player's opinion. Whether you like it or not, people simply want to be entertained. And when all you do is run your mouth and you call everyone criticizing these shows as racist and bigots and misogynists, they're going to tune out on your next endeavor. When you insult the fans, they're going to turn it off. They're going to stop watching, and you're simply going to continue to lose money. You're going to lose relevance, and you're going to learn a very hard lesson. Maybe someday